Who has a Swiss ball? This is going to be our culminating exercise today. So we're going to do some more exercises. I said easy exercises maybe to strengthen the muscles around your knees. Hello, Denise Mend, Barefoot Physio. Welcome everybody. And as always, use what works for you. Leave the rest behind. There's always a different option for doing things. I want to empower you to move better with less pain and more confidence. So that's what these are all about. This exercise, as I said, this is the one we're going to get to. And we'll come back to it. So the first one I want to show you, all you need is a chair. So I'm going to get my chair and make sure you can see me. And you want to either lean your elbows or your hands on the chair, and you're going to come up into a little bit of a lean. So it can be feet further out, which is harder, or feet closer in, which is easier. Or you can do this, guys, against the wall. So you can put your hands against the wall, standing up. So imagine that you could either do this on the wall or on the edge of a counter or a table. So once you're here, you're going to pull your knee in and push it out. So you're going to pull your knee in, push your foot out. So we're just going to do a few of these. Now, if this bothers your wrists, please go to an easier version against the wall. Or you can go to fists or turn your wrists out, which is sometimes a little bit easier. So I am going to do a few on one side and then I'm going to switch to the other side. So what this exercise is working on is my long quadricep muscle, the rectus femoris, and my other quad muscles, and my arms a little bit, and my trunk. So if you can do a couple of sets on both sides of about 5 to 15 in and out, you'll feel a good burn in your thigh muscles at the front. You're also working your trunk muscles. You're also working your gluteal muscles in the leg that pushes back. Okay, next one I wanted to show you is hamstring rollers. So if you have a ball, you can also use a rolling chair or stool for this one. So what you want to start with, let's move this chair out of the way now. Okay, so what you want to be able to do here is dig your heels in, push your legs straight. I'm going to get on my sticky mat so I don't slip. You're going to push your legs straight, and then you're going to roll in. You're going to push straight and roll in. Now, if you want to make this more difficult, get yourself back further on your ball so that when you straighten, you're pulling yourself forward more with your thigh muscles. So hamstring curls in sitting, curling in, straightening out. So you can make this easier or harder depending on where you pull from. So if I have my feet closer in, I'm going to be pulling in a little bit more middle of my hamstrings. If my feet are further out, I'm going to be pulling out a little bit more at the end. Okay? But this is a really nice entry exercise to start to get some activity in the hamstrings. And for those of you that have difficulty bending your knees or kneeling or descending stairs, strengthening the back of the thighs is really important because the hamstrings help to change how your knees feel when you get some compression at the front of the knees, which is normal, but sometimes we get sensitive to that amount of compression. So I can start to feel the middle of my hamstrings working here. Now, if you want to make this more difficult, find something to hold on to. I'm going to hold on to my couch. You can do one leg at a time. Okay? So we'll do 5 or 10 each side. And if you hold the other leg up, now you're making, this is getting back to the straight leg raise from last week, everybody. Okay, and then we'll do a few on the other side. So if you want to make this more difficult, get it so that your heel is dug in and you're pulling in a little bit more. If you want to make it easier, you can just roll. Okay, so you increase your intensity as you can. You always want to challenge exercises. If they start to feel easy, make them slightly more difficult, and that way you'll continue to progress. All right, so that is an easy hamstring roller. Again, if you don't have a ball, you can do that on a rolly chair or a rolling stool. Really nice way to gently start to activate the hamstrings, which is so important for the front of the knees. You can visit your physiotherapist in your community. They usually sell bulk bands like this. You could just get a small piece that's probably about 2 feet long and just make your own loop. Because the bands are a nice way of adding some proprioception and some resistance. So now we're going to do chops. Now I'm going to put the band around both knees. And I'm going to have one on one knee, one behind my thigh. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to lean in, come back, lift up. That's it. Now this seems pretty simple. Leaning in, lean back, lift up. But when I lift up, I'm working the hip flexor at the front of this hip, and as I lift up, woohoo, I'm balancing on this weight-bearing leg, so I can really feel my gluteals work on this side. So if you need a base of support, I'm using the ball right now as my base, or you could use a couch or a chair beside you. So lean in, lean back, lift up. Now, if that's too difficult, just lift your heel. And that's a little bit of a challenge, but not as much as lifting your whole foot. So let's just do a few of these on both sides. Lean in, lift. Lean in, come back, lift. Lean in, come back, and lift. I'm going to go on the other side. Now, of course, you could do this without the band, right? You could just do it. I'm going to take the band off and show you. Very simple, right? Just leaning in, coming back, lift. Now, if this bothers your knee, pad it up, okay? So put something underneath your knee, and that makes it a little bit more comfortable. And if that is not comfortable, then do this in standing. So you could do it in a lunge position. Now I'm going to get out of the screen here for a second, guys, but you can just see my legs. So I would lean in, I would come back, lift up. Lean in, come back, lift up. My ball's rolling around on me here. So let's do a few more here. Lean in, come back, lift up. Lean in, come back, lift up. And please pad your knee if you feel like that's not comfortable on your kneecap, okay? So anywhere from 5 to 10, a couple of times on both sides. I want to show you now the variation that we were building up to, okay? So we were on the ball. You can either have now this is the most challenging. I'm just balancing and I'm bending back and I'm keeping my back and my trunk really solid, and I'm sitting my hips back over my feet. As I roll forward, I'm tightening my thigh muscles. Now, if that's too challenging, guys, go to on your hands and push back, push forward. So that's the easier version. Push back, push forward. So this is like a squat, but I've inverted. So I can feel my quadricep muscles working at the front of my thighs. I can feel my buttocks a little bit as I get back here and I push through. I'm on my toes so I can feel my calf muscles working. So I'm starting to sweat a little bit. This is hard. So if you do anywhere from 8 to 12 of these, this is a really nice whole body exercise that really focuses on the lower body because your trunk is supported. Now, if you want to make it really challenging, you could do it without the ball. So you can get into a plank position, push back, go forward. So that would be probably equal to difficulty of the elbows on the knees. Please, guys, if any one of those is too difficult, do the easier version, make it smaller, make it slower. If it's still not feeling good, you leave it alone. Now, my last little comment, I'm kneeling on my knees here. Some of you may have difficulty being in this position where you are all the way back and kneeling on your knees. But this is actually a very nice thing to be able to do because it provides compression to the front of the kneecap, which assists your cartilage in getting nutrition, which is so important. If this is difficult, I always tell my patients, try to work on this movement by putting something underneath your knees and working your way back. So if you just rock back a little bit, and that feels a bit easier, and you can hold there for a few breaths, and then maybe you can come up to sitting. And this is a gentle stretch for some of you, maybe not so gentle, maybe it's a little bit more intense, but it's a nice way of starting to get some loaded flexion in your knees, which is really nice to do after all of the work that we just did. Now, if this is too difficult again, ease into it. But I really like doing a little bit of gentle compression through my knees after I've done some quadricep exercises and some hamstring exercises. That is it for today. Little quick but intense. That could be very intense workout for you to challenge your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your gluteals, and your trunk today. Until next time, love you all. So grateful for this time together and share in movement with me. Bye for now.